The scars you hide are the sermons you're meant to preach. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dole, like sweet softness whispered in French, and I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft and loving, every second of it. Today's conversation is born from a powerful exchange I had with Ralonda Trumpler, a woman whose life is a testament to the fact that God doesn't waste a single wound. Ralonda is making the world a better place by standing in rooms where silence once suffocated Black women and saying, "Your pain is not your prison, it is your platform." She's living proof that the very thing meant to destroy you can become the foundation of your greatest calling. Her work is dismantling shame, shattering stigma, and building bridges for women who've survived molestation, rape, addiction, depression, HIV, and single motherhood. Women who thought their stories disqualified them from purpose. Rolanda is teaching us that in Christ, pain doesn't disqualify you, it prepares you. So let me ask you something. How many of you are sitting here right now carrying a secret so heavy that just the thought of someone finding out makes your chest tighten? How many of you have survived something? Molestation, rape, addiction, depression, an HIV diagnosis, single motherhood, or maybe all of the above, and you're still out here being the strong one, the dependable one, the one everybody calls when they need something while you're barely holding yourself together behind closed doors? Yeah, I see you. Here's what I need you to hear today. And I mean, really hear. That thing you've been hiding, that diagnosis, that trauma, that addiction you beat or are still fighting, that shame you carry like a second skin. It's not the end of your story. It's not even the worst part of your story. It's the raw material God uses to reveal your purpose and your power. And I know that might sound like something you'd hear in a Sunday morning sermon, but stay with me because what I'm about to share with you is going to shift something deep in your spirit. Let's talk about a woman named Ray Lewis Thornton. Ray is an African American woman who was diagnosed HIV positive at 23 years old. By 1992, she had full blown AIDS. And back then in the 90s, that was a death sentence, especially for a young Black woman. The public narrative around HIV and AIDS didn't even include women like her. It was all about gay men, about drug users, about people society had already decided didn't matter. But Ray was a professional, a churchgoer, a woman who contracted HIV through heterosexual contact. And she was dying in silence because nobody was talking about women like her. So what did she do? She got on the cover of Essence magazine in December 1994 and told the whole world her story. She said, "I'm not just dying of AIDS, I'm living with it, and I'm going to use my voice to save somebody else." Ray became an ordained minister. She turned her diagnosis into a calling. She stood in pulpits and on stages and in living rooms and said, "This is my testimony and it's not over yet." And you know what? Decades later, she's still here, still preaching, still ministering, still proving that what the enemy meant for evil, God can turn into a platform. That's what Rolanda reminded me of when we spoke. She said something I can't stop thinking about. She said, "Your pain does not disqualify you in Christ, it prepares you." Sit with that for a second. The very things you survived molestation, rape, addiction, depression, HIV, single motherhood those are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of your ministry. They are the proof that you were built for this, that you are still here for a reason. Now, let's talk about another woman. Her name was Hydea Broadbent. Hydea was born with HIV and AIDS, abandoned at birth, adopted by a Christian family who loved her fiercely and chose to share her story publicly, even when doctors said she wouldn't live past 5 years old. Hydea started speaking about her diagnosis as a child. She went on Oprah. She spoke at churches, schools, conferences. She looked the world in the face and said, I'm HIV positive and I'm not ashamed. She lived decades beyond what anyone expected, and she used every single one of those years to normalize conversations about HIV in Black communities and churches that had been silent for too long. Heidi's story is a reminder that even when life starts with abandonment, with illness, with a diagnosis that feels like a death sentence, God can still use it. She turned what looked like the end into a testimony that saved lives. And that's what I want you to understand today. You don't have to have it all together to be used by God. You don't have to be healed to start healing others. You just have to be willing to open your mouth and tell the truth. Because here's the second thing Ralonda said that I need you to hear. There is power and healing in your testimony. When you share your story honestly, especially the parts you used to hide, you not only free yourself, you become a lifeline for another woman who thinks she's alone in her struggle. Let me say that again. When you share your story, you become a lifeline. You know what's wild? We've been taught to be strong, to hold it together, to never let them see you sweat. And listen, I get it. We're Black women. We've had to be strong to survive. But somewhere along the way, we started confusing strength with silence. We started thinking that if we just keep it together long enough, if we just keep showing up, keep smiling, keep serving, eventually the pain will go away. But it doesn't. It just gets heavier and we get more tired. And we start to believe the lie that we're the only ones carrying this weight. But you're not. You're not the only one who's been molested. You're not the only one who's been raped. You're not the only one who's battled addiction or depression. You're not the only one living with HIV. You're not the only single mother who's exhausted and scared and wondering if you're going to make it. You're not alone. And the moment you open your mouth and tell your truth, you give another woman permission to do the same. That's what an organization called the Balm in Gilead has been doing for decades. It's a faith based nonprofit founded by Dr. Pernessa C. Seal, an African American Christian woman who saw that Black churches were staying silent about HIV and AIDS while Black women were dying in that silence. So she started training pastors, church leaders, and lay women to address HIV from the pulpit with compassion, with accurate information, and with biblical grounding. She empowered women in the church to share their testimonies, to lead support groups, to create health ministries and prayer circles focused on healing and wholeness. And you know what happened? Thousands of Black churches got involved, women who had been suffering in silence, women who were living with HIV, women who were caring for loved ones, women who were carrying trauma from violence and addiction and depression. They stepped into leadership roles. They used their testimonies to uplift others. They turned their pain into purpose. They became the balm in Gilead for their communities. That's the power of testimony. That's what happens when you stop hiding and start healing out loud. Now, I know some of you are sitting here thinking, but LeAnne, you don't understand. If I tell my story, people will judge me. They'll reject me. They'll think I'm dirty or broken or unworthy. And listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Some people will. Some people will not be able to handle your truth, but those are not your people. Your people are the ones who will hear your story and say, me too. Your people are the ones who will see your scars and say, thank you for showing me I'm not alone. Your people are the ones who will be saved because you had the courage to speak. And here's the third thing Ralonda said that I need you to hold on to. You can rebuild your life with God, one surrendered step at a time, through prayer, counseling, community, and practical choices around health and sobriety. You can move from I thought my life was over to I know my life has purpose, even with an HIV diagnosis or a painful past, one surrendered step at a time. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You don't have to be healed by tomorrow. You just have to take one step Maybe that step is scheduling an HIV test or a doctor's appointment. Maybe it's reaching out for addiction support or counseling. Maybe it's returning to prayer, to journaling, to Bible study with honesty about your pain. Maybe it's telling one safe person, a counselor, a pastor, a therapist, a sponsor, a trusted friend. One part of your story you've been carrying alone. Just one step. That's all God needs. He'll meet you there. Ray Lewis Thornton didn't go from diagnosis to ordained minister overnight. Hydea Broadbent didn't go from abandoned baby to international activist in a day. The women of the Balm in Gilead didn't transform their churches in a week. They took one step and then another and then another, and God met them every single time. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Within the next 7 days, stop hiding and tell at least one safe person the truth about your struggle. Choose someone you trust, a counselor, a pastor, a therapist, a sponsor, a friend, and share one part of your story you've been carrying alone. Whether it's trauma, addiction, depression, or an HIV diagnosis, just tell one person. Then take one step toward healing spiritually and practically. Schedule that appointment. Reach out for support. Return to prayer with honesty. Just one real step. Not perfection, just progress. And finally, use your voice to encourage another woman. Send a message, a voice note, a prayer to another Black woman in your life who is struggling. Tell her she is not alone. Remind her that there is power in her testimony. And if you're ready, share a small part of your own story. Because here's the truth: your pain does not disqualify you. In Christ, it prepares you. There is power and healing in your testimony, and you can rebuild your life with God, one surrendered step at a time. You are not broken. You are not disqualified. You are not too far gone. You are seen. You are loved. And your story is not over. The scars you hide are the sermons you're meant to preach. The pain you've survived is the platform God is building for you. The testimony you're afraid to share is the lifeline another woman is praying for. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting to be perfect. Stop waiting until you're healed. Open your mouth. Tell your truth. And watch God turn your mess into your ministry, your trauma into your testimony, your pain into your pulpit. The world is waiting, and so is she. That woman who thinks she's the only one, that woman who's about to give up, that woman who needs to hear that if you made it, she can too. Go tell her. Go tell them all. Your story is not over, it's just beginning.